Rawan Osman, pro-Israel, Lebanese, Syrian, German activist. Hi, good morning from Jerusalem.
Good morning.
So first of all, Rawan, as I've mentioned, you're currently in Jerusalem, you're in Israel. What is the purpose of your visit here?
Multiple things, including speaking. We made a documentary called A Tragic Awakening on October 7th. It embeds glimpses of my personal story. So when we have a screening, sometimes I am invited to speak afterwards.
Mm-hmm. So you describe yourself, Rawan, in your bio as recovered anti-Semite. It's a remarkable journey from someone who grew up with anti-Semitic views to advocate for Israel. As I've mentioned, this is a terrific journey. What was the turning point for you?
I grew up in Lebanon, and I was a fan of Hezbollah. I believed the narrative the state wanted us to learn about Israel and the Jews. I've never spoken to a Jew until I moved in my 20s to France, and I lived in the Jewish quarter. That was my first encounter with Jews, and that opened my eyes. It sounds as if it happened overnight. That was a long journey for me to relearn the history of our region. And slowly, after years of reading about Israel and the Jewish history, I became a proud Zionist activist. And I think after October 7th, that event changed my life as it did change the world.
So, as you've said, you visited after October 7th the communities, the Israeli communities near Gaza. Also, we know that you visited Auschwitz. How does experiences shaped your perspective and your understanding of suffering and anti-Semitism?
Imagine growing up believing that Israel is the enemy. They attack us, and Hezbollah defends the country. The same way many idiots nowadays believe the lies Hamas is telling the world. The difference is today there is social media. I do not understand how can anyone buy their narrative. I just read this morning, and I believe like many around the world, we don't want to believe that the Bibas family was killed. They are monsters, learning that the assailant, the aggressor, is your own side, not Israel, and telling the Arabs, I'm trying desperately to get them to understand that you are intensively brainwashed. As it becomes clearer every day that the enemy of the people in the region is not Israel, but the so-called axis of resistance led by Iran or by the Iranian regime. The Iranian people are awesome, and they definitely deserve better.
Yes. I assume, Rawan, you still have family, friends in Lebanon, in Syria. How did people around you react to this change in your perspective?
If I had direct family in Lebanon or Syria, I wouldn't do what I'm doing, because these systems tend to play not necessarily fair. So my direct family lives abroad. I still have many family members and friends in Lebanon and Syria. Most of them blocked me right after October 7th, when I made a public statement condemning Hamas and supporting Israel. Many out of fear, but many just because they are anti-Semites, as I was until my mid-20s.
Have you faced backlash, maybe even threats from the Arab communities that you've mentioned?
Well, the Arab world is big. The most hostile are the Palestinians. And I did receive many death threats. In Germany, there is a criminal investigator. I report some death threats too, based on my assessment. But as they taught me, a dog which barks rarely bites. Those who want to kill me will not inform me in advance. So I have to be careful where I'm invited for public speaking. We have heavy security, but I truly believe I'm doing the right thing, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Rawan, when we made an interview with Rabbi Raphael Shor, he mentioned that you even considered converting to Judaism. Is that something you're seriously considering?
I'm not considering converting to Judaism. I am converting to Judaism. And after October 7th, I decided to share this with the world because I saw the impact it has, especially on young Jews. Many people told me, of course, that I shouldn't share that I'm converting. Being an Arab Muslim ally is more valuable. However, converting to Judaism is not my dirty secret, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something I'm proud of, and I'd like the Jews to understand that it is something you should be proud of. There's nothing wrong with you and everything wrong with the world.
Oh, Rawan, that's a strong message. Given your unique background, your unique change in your perspective, what would be, in your opinion, the most effective way to challenge anti-Semitism in Arab communities?
In the Arab world, the Israeli narrative is omitted. I don't know if you're aware that many Arab countries have anti-normalization laws and policies forbidding people-to-people contact. So these Arab citizens, including Lebanese, for example, are afraid of communicating with Israelis even abroad when they are on holiday because of these laws. But thanks to social media, the Jews can reclaim their space, reclaim their voices, and communicate their narrative, exposing the lies told for very long in the Arab world about them.
Yes, and speaking of the new documentary, was there a particular story or testimony that impacted you deeply?
The claim Raphael Shore makes, and it is dealt with deeply in his book, Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Jew? This idea, the notion of the world being anti-Semitic because the Jewish message, the Jewish mission bothers the world. The Jews are the world's conscience. And calling bad deeds out is not suitable in dictatorships. And they have been a pain for fascist regimes. This idea was an eye-opening idea. I do still think that many hate the Jews because of ignorance, or simply because they're blinded by their hatred, or they're not intellectually sophisticated enough to understand that, no, the Jews they are unable to control the banking system and the weather and be behind every problem on the globe. And a lot of the hatred stems from envy, because the Jewish nation excelled, because it became a remarkable country in spite of the Holocaust. But many are bothered by the Jews saying, no matter who you are, no matter how high your position is, you're still a human being, and God created us equal, so I will challenge whoever I want to challenge.
Rawan Osman, we're so glad you're on our side. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.